Before anything else, pause. What I'm about to say is going to sound strange coming from someone who makes videos on the internet. If you actually want to improve your life, you need to stop watching self-improvement content the way you're watching it right now. Not because it's useless, not because it's fake, but because you're consuming it in a way that quietly kills your progress. You don't have a discipline problem, you have a consumption problem, and it's destroying your progress. There's a very sneaky thought that creeps into your mind when you open YouTube. You tell yourself, if I'm going to waste time anyway, I might as well watch something productive. So instead of clicking on random entertainment, you choose something that feels useful. Maybe it's a productivity breakdown, a transformation story, a disciplined talk, or some kind of motivational analysis. You convince yourself that this time doesn't count as wasting time. It counts as improving. You tell yourself this doesn't count as wasting time. It counts as growth. Most of you are not improving, you're consuming, and that's the trap. They are not the same thing. There is a massive difference between learning something and implementing it. If you don't understand that difference, you can spend years watching content like this and never actually change. Here's the uncomfortable, cold, hard truth. Self-improvement content online is not designed to transform you. It's designed to be consumed. That's not some evil conspiracy. That's just how platforms work. Videos that perform well have strong hooks, clear steps, emotional payoff, and high retention. They are optimized to keep you watching. They are not optimized to ensure you implement anything. If someone uploaded a 2-hour, painfully detailed, boring breakdown of exactly how to rebuild your life step by step, almost nobody would click on it. So what gets created instead is content that feels helpful, feels motivating, feels like progress. But feeling progress is not the same as making progress. This is where psychology starts to matter. There's something called ambivalence. It means you want change, but you also want comfort. You want to be stronger, sharper, more disciplined. But you also don't want discomfort, boredom, or struggle. When you watch a self-improvement video, your brain gets a small reward. You feel aware, you feel informed, you feel like you're doing something. You imagine your future self. You get the emotional benefit of growth without paying the cost of growth, and your brain loves that trade. Think about going to the gym in January. When you sign up, you imagine the future version of yourself. Stronger, leaner, more confident. It's all upside in your head. Then you show up for the first workout and suddenly you're out of breath, your muscles hurt, and you look exactly the same in the mirror. Now you're paying the cost without seeing the benefit. That's the moment most people quit. But when you watch a transformation video, you get the upside without the pain. You feel motivated without sweating. You feel disciplined without lifting anything. You get the reward without the sacrifice. Over time, your brain starts associating improvement with consumption instead of effort. That's why some people watch productivity podcasts for 5 straight years and stay exactly where they started. Meanwhile, someone else watches one targeted video, applies it immediately, and moves on. The difference is not intelligence. It's order. Here is the correct order. Work first, content second. If you are not actively doing the thing, you should not be consuming content about the thing. If you want to get in shape, train, struggle, feel weak, notice what's not working, then look for a specific answer to a specific problem. If you want to build better skin, commit to a simple routine and stick with it. If something isn't working, search for that exact issue. Don't binge random skincare advice because it feels productive. Content should solve a problem you have already encountered. It should not replace action. Most people reverse that order. They tell themselves they're in the learning phase. They say they're preparing, but preparation without implementation is just entertainment wearing a productive costume. Another trap is what people call efficiency. You'll tell yourself you're going to listen to a podcast while cleaning, or watch a video while gaming, or absorb something useful while scrolling. It feels like you're stacking productivity. But here's the issue. When something feels free, your brain doesn't value it. If improvement costs you nothing, it means nothing. Growth requires friction. It requires focused attention and deliberate effort. If you're serious about improving something, it deserves your full attention, not whatever leftover bandwidth you have while multitasking. There's a simple rule you can use. If you want to improve an area of your life, write down exactly what you're going to do this week, not what you're going to watch, what you're going to do. Then, if you hit a wall, search for a solution. Let's say you decide to cook instead of ordering food. Don't binge random cooking content because it looks cool. Cook something, burn it, undercook it. Realize your timing is off. Then search for a specific solution like how to grill vegetables without burning them. Now the content has a purpose. Now it supports action instead of replacing it. That is the shift. Separate improvement from entertainment. If you're going to relax, relax. Watch something funny. Be honest about it. If you're going to improve. Sit down, focus, take notes, apply immediately. Stop blending the two, because that blend is where years disappear. Self-improvement should feel uncomfortable at times. It should feel effortful. If it feels endlessly smooth and entertaining, you're probably consuming more than you're building. There's nothing wrong with YouTube, there's nothing wrong with podcasts, there's nothing wrong with motivational content. The problem is passive consumption disguised as growth. You don't need more information, you need implementation. So here's the challenge. For the next 30 days, don't watch a single self-improvement video unless you have already taken action in that area. No more discipline content while lying in bed. No more productivity breakdowns while procrastinating. No more motivational speeches while doing nothing. Work first, content second. If you follow that rule, your consumption will naturally drop. Not because you're forcing it, but because you'll be too busy building. And the content you do watch will finally matter. If this hit, comment the one area you're actually going to take action on this week. And if you want more clarity instead of noise, subscribe. Watching feels productive. Building changes your life. Only one of those is hard, and only one of them works. And here's the part nobody wants to admit. Watching is addictive because it gives you identity without responsibility. You start to see yourself as someone who cares about discipline, someone who values growth, someone who is into self-improvement. But identity without action is just fantasy. You can know all the right concepts, you can quote all the right ideas, you can nod along to every mindset shift, and still be stuck. There's a quiet ego boost that comes from understanding something. When you understand how fat loss works, you feel smarter. When you understand dopamine detox, you feel ahead. When you understand productivity systems, you feel organized. But understanding is not execution, and execution is the only thing that creates change. Here's another uncomfortable truth. If you stop consuming self-improvement content tomorrow, your life would not fall apart. In fact, for most of you, it would improve, because you'd finally be forced to sit with your own thoughts. You'd finally be forced to act instead of analyze. Most people don't need more frameworks. They need repetition. They need to do the same simple habits over and over until they become automatic. That's boring. That's not clickable. That's not viral. But that's what works. And this is why the 3-0-day rule matters. Not because YouTube is evil, not because podcasts are bad, but because you need to rewire your relationship with improvement. For the next month, improvement is not something you consume. It is something you practice. If you want better skin, follow a basic routine every day. If you want better fitness, train consistently. If you want more discipline, wake up on time and follow through. Then, only when you hit a real obstacle, search for a real solution. And when you find it, implement it immediately. No saving it to a watch later list. No letting it sit in your notes app. Immediate application. Because that's the missing link. Not more knowledge, more friction, more repetition, more boring consistency. You don't need another breakthrough. You need to do the basics long enough for them to compound. So here's the final question. Are you watching because you want to change? Or are you watching because it feels like change? Those are two completely different paths. One requires effort, the other requires Wi-Fi. Choose carefully, because 5 years from now, you won't remember the videos you watched, but you will live with the habits you built. If this made you uncomfortable, good. Discomfort is the beginning of action. Now close the app and go build something.